If he does. Joining us now, a Democratic member of the Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. Senator, it's good to have you back on the show. What do you make of what we're hearing from the Speaker of the House?
Well, Mika, I'm relieved to hear Speaker Johnson finally speaking so clearly and so forcefully that his values are rooted in the Reagan Republican era, that he sees the key strategic moment that we're in, and that he agrees we need to fight for freedom in Europe, and by helping Ukraine stand up to Russia's aggression, show that the United States is committed to the fight for freedom around the world. This supplemental aid package that he is now trying to move through the House passed the Senate by a strong bipartisan margin weeks and weeks ago. It will secure Ukraine's defense, it will fund Israel's defense, and it will provide $9 billion in humanitarian aid, critically needed from Sudan to Gaza to Ukraine to a dozen other countries, and it will provide support for our key partners in the Indo-Pacific. If he can get this done this weekend, it will be a critical turning point and put us on a positive trajectory for this year. If it fails, this will be a moment long remembered as when the United States stepped aside from being, as Secretary Albright often put it, the indispensable nation.
Well, and you have Russia obviously still attacking Ukraine under withering attack from Putin's Russia. You have Israel under attack from Iran. Now you are exactly right. Now is the time. I'm wondering your thoughts, though, as we look towards Israel, and obviously we support Israel in defending themselves, about Gaza, about Netanyahu, about what's happened over the past couple of months, and about what Netanyahu has been working towards for well over a decade, and that is just the elimination of any hope for a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinians. How do we keep that two-state solution alive? Because, you know, we are a strong partner of Israel, but Netanyahu's path has been disastrous, hasn't it?
It has. And frankly, Joe, let's take a step back to why the October 7th attack by Hamas happened. It happened both because Hamas is a group of murderous terrorists whose core principle is that they want to kill Jews and remove the Jewish people from Israel. And it happened because there was steady, positive progress towards ending the Arab-Israeli conflict. The Saudi kingdom, led by Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the Israeli government and the United States were in positive negotiations moving forward towards a recognition of Israel by the Saudis and a reconciliation, frankly, a regional economic and security alignment between Israel and all of the Arab states. One of the greatest successes of American leadership and diplomacy in the Middle East was the Camp David peace accords that ended the active war between Egypt, Jordan, and Israel. If we were to build on the Abraham Accords the last administration made possible and finally end the Arab-Israel conflict, that would shut out Iran and prevent them from having the ability to manipulate the region, to impose the sort of horrifying costs that they've done through their proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. I think we need to say clearly to Prime Minister Netanyahu, you have a choice, a path forward here. You have to show a path towards dignity and self-governance for the Palestinians. You have to allow humanitarian aid at scale into Gaza, and you have to have a regional plan for stabilization and security. This would be a big change. As you just said, Joe, it's been Netanyahu's practice for a decade to divide the Palestinians and to say there is no path towards a two-state solution. He could make history by instead embracing the possibility of peace with the Palestinians and an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict. But that would require a basic change in where he heads. And in my view, if that's not something he's willing to embrace, my hope is that the Israeli electorate will choose a leader who does see that as possible. That's very hard in this moment, just after such a horrifying attack on October 7th. But what happened last weekend was that the Iranians launched 300 drones and missiles at Israel. And they got to see what a security alignment with Jordan, the Saudis, the Brits, the French, the United States looked like in terms of delivering intelligence and timely interception of that wave of attacks. There is a better path forward here for the Middle East, and my hope is that Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli people will take it.
All right, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Israeli Prime Minister